So in this video, we'll be talking about the xTool F1 and initially why I thought I just wouldn't like this machine, but now I do. All right, let's jump into it. And as always, full disclosure, xTool did send me this unit for review. They're not paying me. They're not gonna see this before it comes out. But if you do decide to pick this up, I believe there is a discount at the link below. That's an affiliate link, so I'll get a kickback, which helps me put out more videos like this. All right, if you guys are new around here, my name is Brandon and I review a lot of these lasers and 3D printers and CNCs. And lately I've been getting a lot of requests to check out these smaller laser engraver. So when this initially came out last year, I really didn't think a ton of it. But now that I'm actually getting into reviewing this machine and especially seeing how it integrates with their software, I'm actually really starting to like it. So let's go over kind of what it is first. So this is a laser, obviously, but what's unique about this machine is the actual laser source inside of it. And that's because you don't have one, you actually have two. So first you are gonna have your normal blue light diode laser. This is going to be 10 watts, which is gonna be on the lower end in terms of power. And that actually isn't going to be as big of a deal. And we'll get into why here in a second. And those blue light diode lasers are gonna allow you to engrave on a lot of materials, especially on things like wood. And here are a few examples. But then it also includes an IR laser or an infrared laser, and that allows you to engrave on things you can't before, specifically things like this, which is a small stainless steel dog tag that says dog, so I just engraved dog on it. And stainless is pretty annoying to record, but you get the idea. So the IR laser in general is going to open you up to be able to do metallic items. And it's not really like stuff like this. This is an aluminum card that has a coating on top. So I actually use the diode laser to do all of these black cards that you're seeing, and it does a great job. But the IR laser will engrave directly onto metal. So if those are the type of things that you want to engrave, this could be a really good choice. And what's cool about this form factor of lasers is instead of a gantry where your laser is moving all around in different directions, the movement of the laser happens through a mirror, and that is happening right there. So because of that, you can get speeds that are way higher than a diode or even a CO2 laser, where those top out at around 1,000 millimeters per second. In this case, this guy is 4,000 millimeters per second. So a good deal faster. I think kind of the trade-off with that, and that is more of the form factor versus this machine itself, is your work area is going to be smaller because it can only really bounce around a certain distance and still stay focused. To get a good idea of what the work area is, they have this little plate that is removable. So the work area is 115 square, or about 4.5 inches on all sides. So a lot smaller than what we see on the gantry style machines. And one feature I really like about this is this enclosure. And so this can slide up and down, and there is a trigger on it, so it can only run when it's shut. And in general fiber style machines, you really don't have an enclosure. And so all of the fumes and the exhaust this is making is going into your work area. But because this is enclosed, that also means you have an exhaust port on the back. And xTool actually provides a nice filter unit that connects directly into this machine, not only by like the air hoses in the back, but also electronically. So when this laser starts, it'll automatically turn on. And then once it finishes, it'll run for a few more seconds and this will turn off. And actually normally when I do these videos, I'm normally in my shop space, which has big garage doors where I can exhaust out all of the nasty fumes. In this case, this room is like fully enclosed. It's also kind of echoey, sorry about that. But with all of the testing and the clips that you're seeing right now, I didn't notice any fumes whatsoever. So if you're wanting to run something like this completely indoors, having a cover that fully goes around it is nice. All right, so a few other features on this that I really like are right here. This is how you can adjust the focus. So with these style machines, you adjust the focus by moving the entire head up and down. Some machines that's gonna be manual where you'll spin this like rod, it'll go up and down. And sometimes you like literally just move it and then lock it into place. This guy actually is electronic, so you can spin it forwards and back and it's gonna go up and down. And this will be the button that you press to start your laser. And when you are lasering things, xTool does a good job of kind of doing your standard setup. We saw this plate a second ago. There are some threaded inserts. You can have some metal brackets to give you like a little square to bump up your materials too. And because this is like locked into the machine, when you're in the software, you're gonna know exactly where it is on the work area itself. This doesn't have a camera, and that's something we're kind of starting to see with these style machines, but usually that's only gonna be once you get into something that is a good bit more expensive. But one feature this has that isn't as common with units like this, especially in the size and price range, is going to be autofocus. So inside of the software, you can actually autofocus this laser. But I find with these style machines, actually super easy easy to focus. Basically, it uses a low-powered version of the blue diode laser plus a red laser dot that comes out right here, and they shoot together, and it's in focus when they overlap. So you just move this up and down until they're pretty much on top of each other. It's really, really easy to focus and fast to focus these style machines. A couple things on the safety side of things. You've got an emergency stop right here. So that will kill the power to the laser instantly. There is a switch on the cover, so if you open it, it does cut it, but you can actually see right now, it doesn't cut it like instantly. So if you do need to kill your machine, that's gonna be your best bet. And then on the back, it actually has a little like USB key. You'd see this like back in the day for unlocking software in a computer, but that plugs in, and so this won't run unless that is plugged into the machine. Speaking of getting on it, let's talk about the software. And this is where I really started to be impressed by what xTool has been doing. They're actually about to come out with xTool Creative Space 2.0, which has sometimes you have to export your designs out of Lightburn, bring it into their software. So it's not like super tied in, but it can work if you need it to. They really are pushing you to use their own software. So to connect to that software, you can plug it in by USB, and I think it's like one of those ports right there, or you can connect over Wi-Fi. Now I'm gonna do a full video on a lot of the updates they're doing to their software, but one of the big ones for the F1 and the galvanometer style machines, or like the little thing that moves the mirror, is how they're doing the processing of the path. So normally when you do like a photo engrave of like this owl, it's going to go back and forth, but they are doing a lot better of speeding up that process, doing all kinds of crazy math. So when I was doing these engravings on these metal cards, it was still an image engrave process, so this like wasn't a vector. So it kind of went in and like batched together a bunch of different areas, and then it went back and cleaned everything up. So I was definitely noticing a speed increase just with the software itself. And that's kind of where I see the huge benefit of this style machine, and specifically this one. This is a great one to like travel with. So maybe you're doing craft markets, or you need to take this on site to engrave a bunch of different things over and over again, because it's actually light and super easy to move around, and especially because of the Enclosure use it. So this is a really, really cool option, but it is an option. So I'm actually gonna pull up my laser grid right here. You guys can get access to it in the link down below, where I pretty much list out all of the lasers that are current, whether they're galvo, fiber style machines like this, enclosed diode lasers like the Raleigh Lasermatic 2, which is one of my favorites from last year, or even the bigger CO2 machines. Pretty much have all of those listed out with all of their different stats if you just want to compare them side by side. And then I have links to reviews as well as some discount codes if you want them. But these kind of desktop style machines, there are starting to be more of, and not quite as many like in this class. There's kind of two different ones. You have this, and then you have like a shrunken down, nicer unit. Those are usually a lot more expensive. So like some of the lasers from EM Smart, their basic is $2,000, and this guy is $1,600 at the time of this recording. That one's also 30 watts. Now where this stands out from pretty much all of those machines is the fact you have that 2-in-1, so the diode and the IR. Usually fiber or galvo, or ones that like kind of look like this, are going to be just IR lasers. So it's nice that you've got that diode inside. The only other one that is like that, I actually have behind me this whole time, I forgot about. This is the Laser Pecker 4. I've done a full review on that one as well, and they're usually kind of in the same price range. But if I had to pick, I would lean this direction just on the software piece. And I also like the integration of the enclosure they have versus the like clip-on fan thing they've got going with it. Now, a few other ones you could look at that are pretty close to this are going to be the Monport GP20, as well as the Atom Stack N4. The Atom Stack especially is like $1,200, so it's going to be the cheapest of the bunch. But again, everything other than the Laser Pecker isn't going to have that diode option. So especially if you want to engrave on wood, you're going to need some type of diode laser. Those IR lasers really aren't set up for it. Now, probably the biggest con on this machine is just going to be the overall laser power. 2 watts does get the job done. It just takes a while to do anything on metal. Now, I've been seeing people do these really cool 3D reliefs on coins. You can kind of do that with this. It's going to take like hours to do it. So as you're stepping up in wattage, obviously that's going to get a lot faster. And the 10-watt diode does a good job. You're not really going to cut stuff on this, just like the work area itself isn't that huge. You can at 10 watts. I definitely have done that on machines in the past. But a good part about the 10 watt versus like stepping up to even 20 is the laser dot still stays pretty small. So I really see this more as an engraver, where if you're wanting to cut stuff out, you need to step up to a bigger gantry style diode or a CO2 machine. All right, if you do want to check out probably its closest competitor, the Laser Pecker, link to that review is right there. And until next time, go make or break something in your shop. See you guys.